All right, guys. So today I'm going to talk about why I think Lyme disease and other tick-borne illnesses are uh, one of the leading causes for the chronic disease epidemic in America and also worldwide. So I'll give you some numbers, some facts, some other good things to know, and we'll continue from there. So the first thing to know is that 500,000 people every year get diagnosed with Lyme disease in America alone, and this comes from the CDC, Johns Hopkins, Bay Area Lyme Disease Association, ILADS, all these other places that are pretty trustworthy organizations, right? And these are going to be usually, especially the CDC statistics, are going to be following the CDC diagnostic criteria for the illness. So this would mean you go to your doctor, you have a bullseye rash on your body, you get your blood work done, your labs come back, they say, yes, he's positive for this, and you get the standard treatment because you definitely have it, and you're going to get antibiotics probably for like 2 to 4 weeks, which is not enough time, in my opinion. We'll cover that another day. So, this is also widely underreported because you have to meet so many markers to be treated for this thing, right? And most doctors don't have any clue about it. In fact, a lot of them will kind of try to steer you away from going down that path if you even try to suggest to them, hey, I would like to get this lab done to check for this, right? So they'll some will laugh and laugh at you, gaslight you. It's disgusting behavior, and they know the truth. The ones that are at least like semi-intelligent doctors, they know the truth. But the problem with this is if they were to be like, yeah, we'll give Lyme disease tests to everybody that comes in here, and we'll actually learn how to interpret the labs properly so that we can diagnose it properly too, then they will admit that all these other symptoms that people are coming in with, which allopathic doctors, so Western medicine doctors, are going to say, oh, these are all actually diseases. So if someone comes in that's depressed or has anxiety or neuropathy or something that they'll call fibromyalgia, or POTS, that's post-orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, where your heart, beats like 200 beats a minute when you stand up or do anything. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. All these diseases, right, are actually symptoms of one disease or several different tick-borne infections, but that they can manage your symptoms by calling it another disease and giving you a prescription for that you're going to need to come back to them monthly for. You're going to need to go to the pharmacy monthly and get a prescription, which means they're basically selling you a subscription, right? So this is subscription-based healthcare, where you subscribe basically to them to stay healthy. This is the perfect model for making the most amount of money. This is what Western medicine strives for. They love to get you set up on a subscription-based model to keep you healthy. Now, if they learned how to diagnose things properly and did these labs that they try to talk you out of doing, you would be empowered and become knowledgeable and understand that, oh, I actually have this, and this is what we need to treat in order to get rid of all these other things that are going on with me. They don't like that. And insurance companies don't like that because they're making a ton of money off of you when you go to pick up your prescriptions all the time and you're going to see the doctor all the time. If you came and were able to figure this out and solve your problem and stop all that, that stops a lot of their money. Also, if this knowledge got out to a lot of people, they would start losing a lot of money on things like psychiatric medications for depression, for anxiety, stuff, gabapentin for fibromyalgia, and things for neuropathy, and, medicines for your heart or arthritis, or literally anything, because this disease has so many wide-ranging symptoms and can create problems anywhere in your body. It's very good at this. It is able to evade the immune system. It's also able to make it really hard to pick up in lab work. So that's the thing too. But basically, because it's able to evade your immune system and set up shop anywhere in your body, it's going to create inflammation wherever it sets up. So if it creates inflammation in your heart, you might get POTS, you might get palpitations, you might have other actually serious heart complications like you can get heart attacks from it. It can kill you. You know, if it sets up shop in your brain and creates inflammation around that area, you're going to get psychiatric problems or numbness, tingling, or forgetfulness, brain fog. You know, you can become depersonalized and even like forget, this is crazy, but even like forget who you are in your own body or where you are in like time and space, your orientation, all kinds of things. So like people will all of a sudden not be able to park a car properly, or they'll be driving and they'll completely forget where they are or how they got there, or they will forget how to drive back to their house. They'll forget, like, how do I get home? Where is my home? All these kind of crazy things. And this is all due to inflammation. So wherever these things go in your body and create inflammation, they will cause a symptom, right? But Western medicine is going to call that a disease. Like I said, if it sets up in your heart, there's many different diseases it will cause. Your brain, your joints, your bones, your skin, any other organs, it will do this. And this is this is like the scandal of a century, okay? So the CDC numbers are at 500,000 new cases every year by their diagnostic criteria. There's many more people being treated that don't meet the CDC diagnostic criteria, especially if they're seeing a Lyme literate doctor, which we call LLMDs. Because those people, they'll do labs and all that kind of stuff, but they'll also treat you based on the symptomology you come in with, because they've been trained to look for these things, you know, test your inflammation markers, test your other things, and see, okay, this is what you actually have. This is what I'm going to treat you with. These doctors are pretty much out of network almost all the time. Insurance doesn't want to play with them. Insurance doesn't want to support them and admit that this whole thing is going on, right? And this literally ruins lives everywhere. It's a gross, huge amount of malpractice, negligence, fraud. It's absolutely insane. So, you know, so that half a million number, the 500,000 number that you're given for new cases in America is low. It's several million a year at least. And then that would mean that, of course, worldwide, it's tens of millions probably every year. And these tick-borne illnesses and Lyme disease, they aren't just in ticks. They're in other biting insects too, like fleas, sometimes mosquitoes, sometimes even spiders and flies you can get like some of these things in. So it's not, they're not confined to like, oh, I was out playing in the woods and I got a tick bite and that's why I'm sick. No, you can get these from a lot of things. So I'll also add to this video that, you know, RFK this last year basically came out and was saying, hey guys, like, you know, for being the richest country in the world, I'm in America, so I'm talking about America, we also have the sickest population in the world, the highest incident rate of chronic illness. That doesn't make any sense if you're thinking logically, right? You would say, oh, okay, well, you know, the sickest nation in the world should probably be the most underdeveloped and poorest nation in the world, right? No, no, because here in America, it's like 17%, so almost 20% of our nation's GDP comes from healthcare. So they make a ton of money off treating sick people their entire life. So that's one of the reasons why we are so rich, but then also the sickest. We're the richest and the sickest. Think about this. it's the level of deception here and absolute, it's straight up fraud, and it's, you know, you're playing with people's health and their life essentially, and that's what I'm really passionate about that, but and some of these figures around it and statistics. But so next video, I'm going to introduce you to the first tick-borne disease I'll talk about, which is the most widely known, and that's Lyme disease. So I'll start talking about the symptom profile, you know, all the different things you'll encounter when you're dealing with this, pitfalls, things to know, statistics, all kinds of stuff like that. And then I'll move on to some of the other ones later on once you're like familiar with that. And then I'll talk about other diseases that are triggered by these tick-borne infections, right? So a person that has one of these actually usually has 2 or 3, sometimes 4, 5, or 6, or even more biotoxin illnesses, right? And Western doctors have no idea how to deal with this. A lot of times, if a person comes to them that sick, they're just like, okay, I don't know what to do, or we can't do anything, or like, here, we'll try to like give you some kind of symptom management for a couple of things, but they're never going to figure out or solve the problem, and you're just going down the wrong road. So you have to see like functional doctors. You have to see holistic healthcare practitioners. And yeah, man. So this whole topic there is so much to talk about and discuss, and so much for the public to learn. And the more you learn, the better you can protect yourself and people you love from having to go through this whole ordeal. And that's also like one of my main points, guys. I don't want to see people have to go through what I went through for almost the last 10 years, which has taken so much from me. I never want to see anybody have to go through that. So if my videos can help with that for even like one person, then it's all worth it. I'm going to get into the science and the matter of fact stuff in the next video, and then branch out from there. And I have a lot of really great stuff to talk about. So like, subscribe. Also, I wanted to add that there are dozens of these tick-borne diseases. So people mostly just know Lyme disease, but there's dozens. So when you see stats like, oh, 500,000 new cases in America every year, that's for one of them. That's just one, okay?